So I'm gonna try to do this in one shot for the second time. This rear muffler skid is kind of a pain. Like getting the tips at least like reasonably straight was fairly difficult. This side I had to grind the edge off where it hits the pin. You can kind of see under there. Cut a little notch for that so I could rotate it up. This one I didn't have to do anything. Passenger side was even more a pain. This piece is bent weird. There's something wrong with it, I think. I had to take the loud pipe and bring it out like a 1/4 inch. If you can see that gap right there where it used to be, because these were hitting, and this is the only way that I could get it to be kind of straight. These bolts are super tight. You probably need an impact to get off the last little bit. There's some catch or something, so I had to like grab my fingers and like pull it down real hard while I was blasting at full speed. I came up like with a 1/4 inch and a bunch of adapters through the pipes there. I mounted this piece to the skid externally. I did some test fitting. I realized I needed to justify the aluminum as far this way as I could, but there's really not a lot of room, so I bench tightened all these. It didn't come with bolts for these, or it didn't come with nuts for these bolts, but I had them. There's 3/8, and I Loctited them all. My strategy for the tightening, I'm not sure if it's correct or not, but what I kind of did is I got the 2 little bolts that hold it on there kind of snug, and then I crammed all the bolts in as much as I could for the sway bar links and everything. And I got everything so that it's about, you know, maybe a 1/16 inch away from being fully tight. And then I tightened these ones first on the sway bar. I tightened these ones to pull it up to the top. And then I came back and tightened these. Oh, I had to cut this. You can see here where it's like notched out. I had to notch out like a, I don't know, 1/8 inch or so to clear the actuator for the loud pipes. But on the passenger side, didn't have to do anything. And then once I had these brackets on tight and tightened up here, I tightened up the top pieces. I tightened up the top of the skids up here, and then I tightened up these bottom ones last, and it kind of works. I mean, there's still like a gap that you can see there, but you know, it's hitting over here, so it's as good as it'll get. I mean, maybe I'll bend it with the jack or something, but probably not. Probably don't care. The back part, this muffler skid was probably harder than the rest of it, except dropping this tank was a little bit of a pain. But when I first put it on, this exhaust skid here was hitting on this, so keep an eye on that. And what I did is ratchet strap it to the other side of the Jeep with that bolt loose, and then the 2 bolts here, and I just cranked it over as far as it would go, and it got a little space because it was hitting right there. Now it's like, you know, I can almost get my pinky through there. So that was good. The tank, when I did the tank, I strapped the front, dropped the front down like they say in their directions, and then dropped it down a little more, and then I got a strap in. I broke that strap off. Like there's another video that someone put online on doing it on a regular jail, not a 392. It was super helpful too. But I got a second strap in, and I broke that strap off, and then dropped the front of the tank down more, and then I put a third strap in because I realized that the back was like sagging pretty big when I put a jack under the skid plate to lower the skid plate. So I strapped the back like around this area, went over the control arm, and got that. So that was pretty good. The tank's still like a little loose, like it can move back and forth here. You know, there's like a, I don't know, 3/4 inch gap here. So I don't know if I'll put a strap over it and tighten it down onto here, or just cram some junk in there and call it good enough. I'll probably strap it maybe off this bolt and go over the top with some kind of metal strap or something that I'll rig up. The rest of it was fairly easy. I did notice that the main cross member, which is, yeah, this one right here, it hits the exhaust. I don't know if you can see it, but basically on the far side, you can't really see it, but like basically right under this exhaust pipe, under the outermost exhaust pipe, it hits on the radius. It doesn't really hit, but it was like within a 16th of an inch or less, and I noticed that it rattles when I put it in reverse, so it's hitting. But maybe it was just the resonator hitting here. I'm not sure. I haven't tested it since I corrected this issue. But front was fairly easy. There's not a lot to it. I'm not super excited with the way that this piece mounts onto here and then goes to here, just because it seems like if there's a reasonable force here, it would just bend right up and hit the oil pan, because there's not a lot of torsional strength. It's just from these bolts on this side holding this plate, which holds this plate, and this tab only sticks out like this far. So you got this big long lever arm attached to another lever arm that's only held on by these two bolts right here. So I would have preferred something a little more beefier on this spot, like something that goes over the exhaust pipe, or just a longer bracket that comes out to here to get a little more angle on it, because I can see this. I haven't tried to put the jack on it yet and see what happens, but I don't know if I want to. It's better than before, that's for sure, with this stupid oil pan. I got the early cast one with that giant bolt that hangs down like inch. I can't believe Jeeps would ever do that. They should have known better. Like, they ever go off-road ever. You know, you can see the oil pan bolt there. So these brackets for the engine skid, I had to like grind some off to get them to fit up in there. The bolts, I don't know how you're supposed to do this. The instructions are basically non-existent for this part. So what I did is I took these bolts out. I think they're M10. I used the ones that came with the M10 rib nuts, but I didn't use the rib nuts. I don't know what they were for. Actually, most of the hardware, I couldn't tell what it was for. I just picked the one that looked right. So these ones, originally, the bolt comes in from the top, but I decided to put the bolt in from the bottom and sent it up through the top, and then I just put an M10 nut on the top. I believe it's M10 to hold the engine mount on it on both sides. And that I did the same thing on that one too. Same strategy. I tightened these ones. There's no wiggle room up top, so I tightened those ones on the top, and then afterwards I tightened the bolts right here. But you know, it's got a lot of clearance here. I mean, I probably would have pushed it a lot closer to the oil pan. But I guess I can really bash this thing up, because I got like, what is that, like, I don't know, at least an inch between where the oil pan bolt is, which is my main concern here. So obviously I don't want to smash that thing off, but yeah, it turned out pretty cool. It's way better than stock, that's for sure. It looks cool. I'll be able to drag it over rocks. I don't plan on lifting it really. I plan on putting 37s on it. Maybe I'll lift it up an inch, maybe I won't, depending on how it goes. I like the low height, and I don't have a ton of room in my garage either, so I don't want to go too high. But I think that about covers it. Hopefully that helps you guys out. Oh, I can show you all the tools I used. I used a whole pile of everything. It's a car jack and a little slider, so a bunch of sockets. You know, when people ask what size socket, you need all the sizes, so mostly metric. Looks like 13, 14, 15, 16, maybe I used 17, I don't remember, 18, maybe some of the other ones, I'm not sure. It's been a couple days. The air ratchet was helpful for some of the ones that couldn't get to. Oh, this is a super key tool. These wrenches I picked up at the SEMA show, like, I don't even know, like a bunch of years ago. Not sure what it is, A*S on this side, and this one says Alden, but these are super cool because they have this like little ratchet piece here. So basically these work like open-end ratchets, because the bolts in the back in here, they're all constrained. You know, you can kind of see there where you can't get a closed-end wrench on any of them, so you have to open-end wrench it. You can't put a socket on them. So they're like, it would be super frustrating without that. Those you can at least like move it like 1/8 of a turn and then do it again. But there's like pretty much all the bolts on the inside of the exhaust skid, you're doing like just a tiny turn, because like you can see it, they're almost all like, I mean, the one in the center is fine, but a load of them that you have to do are impacted by the other bolt. So if they gave a little more space, like if this bolt was like up here, it would have made it way easier. And same with the bolts on the sway bar hanger support things. If those were like up a little bit higher, still would have been way easier, because then you could put a closed end wrench on it, which would have been a whole lot easier. But all in all, I'm pretty happy with the thing. It looks cool. It's way better, definitely way better than the stock. I mean, look at that. It's nice flat belly skid. I mean, compared to my old LJ that I had, night and day difference. I don't have a giant shovel on the bottom and a nice flat surface. It'd be cool if the exhaust didn't hang down, but it is what it is, and we'll take a 392 with a tiny little hang down over not a 392. So hopefully it helps you out. Good luck. Go for it. It's worth the money.